Hello everybody, this is Liz from French Toast and Books, and today we're going to talk about February 2021 book releases. I have 13 books that I am very excited to be released this February. February also happens to be my birthday month, so maybe I'll pick these up when I do birthday shopping. We'll have to see. The first 3 books are set to release February 2nd. We have first, Yesterday is History by Kosoko Jackson. This is a gay, people of color book series with time travel. It sounds so fantastic. It starts off with our main character needing a liver transplant, and when he gets his liver transplant, it finds out that this liver comes from a long line of time travelers, and he accidentally transports himself back in time to the year 1969, and he's obviously confused at a loss for words. When he ends up coming back to the present, he meets the family of the person he got the liver from, and they are going to train him to time travel responsibly. The next one is This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. This is also an LGBT book with an Aro-Ace main character. It is a debut novel. It sounds very sci-fi and sounds just so cool. Our main character is orphaned and forced to serve her country through a group of scribes, and her main goal is to find her brother, and in working with these scribes she accidentally uses ancient magic to awaken an automaton, and the country's main goal is to form a battle army of automatons, and she doesn't really want the country to succeed, but obviously things happen when she awakens an automaton. She's running for her life and obviously trying to find her brother and keep this hidden secret at bay. And the last one for February 2nd is The Project by Courtney Summers. This is the next novel that Courtney Summers has written. Everyone in the book community raved about Sadie a couple years back, so I'm so excited that she is back to debut another novel. This one is set with a cult theme. Our main character's sister joins a cult, and our main character is determined to save her sister, bring her back out of the cult's clutches, and in doing so she first has to prove it's a cult, and she buddies up with the leaders of the cults, and it sounds so cool. The next 3 books I have are set to release on February 9th. First, we have The Girl from Shadow Springs by Ellie Cypher. This is another debut novel. It sounds so fascinating. We take place in a tundra wasteland, and our 2 main characters are body scavengers, because in this climate, in this area, there is believed to be an area of great treasure, and so a lot of people go out in searching for this treasure and they fail, and their body ends up becoming wasted and frozen in this tundra land, and so these sisters scavenge these bodies. However, they end up scavenging the wrong body, supposedly, and the main character's sister is taken from her, and the scavengers won't give her sister back until they return what was stolen from a body. And it just sounds so cool. Next, we have The Witcher's Heart by Genevieve Gornichec, and this sounds so good. It's another debut novel with Norse mythology. This story has a lot of interesting elements. We have Loki's lover, Angorbora, as our main character, and she refuses to predict or tell the future to Odin, which inquires his wrath. And so she is on the run from Odin, powerless, which is what prompts her to meet Loki. It seems like it's a hate to lovers romance between the two, and then in order to kind of bring her powers back and get back into the Norse god's good graces, she seeks the help of Scotty, the huntress, and it just sounds super, super good. Next and last for February 9th is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. This is a huge, I've heard it everywhere on BookTube and Bookstagram. It is a debut novel in the fantasy YA genre with people of color cast, and it centers around this idea of an impure bloodline. Our main character, Decca, fears for her up-and-coming blood ceremony where it determines whether or not she can become an actual member of her village or if she has to suffer a fate worse than death. Her blood has to run red in order to join the village, and gold if it's impure, and her blood actually ends up running gold. She has to join a soldier's army for her country and become what is known as an Aloki, which are near immortals with rare gifts. And so she sojourns to the country's capital in order to train it to become one of these, and things get messy. The next 6 books are all set to be released on the 16th of February. That is a huge release day for February 16th. So let's get started. First, we have We Are the Fire by Sam Taylor. This is another one that I've heard and seen multiple times. It's a debut novel where stolen children are being converted into these fire wielders for the country, and our main characters are one of these fire wielders, and they're trying to get rid of their imprisonment. And the two main characters have very drastic different reasons and ways of wanting to kind of dismantle this tyrannical kingdom in order to return home, and it sounds so good. The next one is The Wide Starlight by Nicole Lesperance. This is another debut story, and what really intrigues me is it's set and described as the Hazelwood meets the astonishing color of after. I never read the Hazelwood, but I loved and adored the astonishing color of after, so I really am excited to kind of get back into those bookish vibes. This one takes place with Norway folklore. So this story has a very interesting type of premise. Our main character, her mother vanishes when she was 6 years old, and then at 16 her mother reappears, and a lot of magic and mystery kind of comes wafting back into her community and her area when that happens. But the main character kind of rejects her mom, and she isn't quite sure she can handle this mother's return. So her mother runs away again, runs off and flees to the Northern Lights, where she vanishes again, but she leaves behind a note requesting that our main character follow her, and so she decides to kind of figure out this magic and this mystery and get more insider information with her mom, and it just sounds really cool. Next up is Amelia Unabridged by Ashley Schumacher. This is another debut novel. It sounds like a YA contemporary where we have our main character and her best friend that obsess over an author to the point where they want to go to one of the author's releases and get signed. However, things don't quite work out that way, and her best friend actually ends up dying, and our main character feels very much in grief and can't quite handle that or process that, especially because the main character and her best friend have a really huge fight before she ends up tragically dying, and mysteriously a package winds up on our main character's front door. It's a rare edition of a book from that author that both girls were very, very excited to see and to meet. And our main character, as she's devastated and grief-stricken, she really believes that was her best friend sending her book to try to make amends. And so she goes on this journey to try to figure out how she actually got this book in her possession, who sent it, and what that means, and how to incorporate it into her grief. Next, we have The Removed by Brandon Hobson. This is a BIPOC story with Cherokee folklore. I love how they intersperse not just grief, as it takes place with a family and their son dies and they're having a reunion on the anniversary of their son's death. And so many things have happened. The father is struggling with Alzheimer's, and also the mother and father have decided to adopt somebody and bring them into their home. So there's a lot of themes to center around in the story, and a lot of stuff's going on. So it talks a lot about the family's Cherokee ancestry, their folklore, and interweaves between real and supernatural elements to just kind of really put a hold on the family, the grief that they're all sharing, and all the personal information in their lives. And it just sounds so good. Next, we have The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. This is a suspenseful mystery sci-fi story that just sounds so interesting. It involves this man and wife. The wife ends up getting cloned, and this husband has an affair with this clone of his wife, and then his husband ends up dead. And so it's a he said, she said, whodunit type of story with whether the clone killed him or the wife killed him, their motivations between it, and all of that stuff. And lastly, for February 16th is A Shot at Normal by Marisa Reichart. This sounds so interesting. It takes place where there's an unvaccinated teenager. She finds out she's unvaccinated, and she decides to go to court, to law, to fight her family in order to get vaccinated, because her parents are very against it. They don't care for her bodily autonomy, and she won't hear for it. The last book I have on this 13 book list is set to release on February 23rd. It is called A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth, and it sounds fantastic. It's another debut story with Faye, and it's YA, it's LGBT, and it sounds so fantastic. There's a murder plot to expose the Fae, and the Fae obviously don't want to be exposed. It could cause this huge war between the mundane and the Fae, and so our main characters are trying so desperately hard to put a nip in it. So there we have it. There we have 13 books that I am so excited for to be released in February. Please let me know your favorite or most anticipated February release. And until next time, remember that I love you guys. Bye!